country.
The passion runs so deep, man. So much history, pageantry.
1 week closer to kickoff.
That's the way we answer.
It starts with culture.
It's a mentality, it's a way of life, it's a DNA.
College football free agency. Transfer portal.
The Cinderella story is over, man. Right? They're fighting for clicks, we're fighting for wins.
Say that. Say that again. Coaches only. Players only. Everybody. It's time.
College football is different. They're teaming.
Of the 12-team playoff. Fires for the end zone. Touchdown! Alabama wins!
Welcome back for a new college football episode of Bet the Line, brought to you by Robbins Properties. If you're looking for a house, townhome, or apartment to rent or own in the central Iowa area, they are the people that will take care of you. That is Robbins Properties. Before we get started, make sure to click the subscribe button and the like button and turn on all bell notifications to stay up to date on all college football things. Boys, Texas A&M travels to South Bend and pulls off the upset 41-40 over Notre Dame.
I'm going to let Q speak on this first, since Texas A&M, the Aggies, was his darling SEC champions preseason.
I think, once again, the offensive side looked amazing. I think Marcel Reed has matured a lot through the offseason and through this year. I just think the defense is still a question mark. I mean, I know they're playing Notre Dame, but I mean, they've given up 20 plus every week. And first 2 weeks they were playing scrubs. So I would like to see them kind of come together as a defense sooner rather than later. But I mean, Marcel Reed looks sharp. Their receiving core is absolutely insane. Le'Veon Moss looks unreal. 3 touchdowns. He looked better than Jeremiah Love. I know he's not, but he did look better than Jeremiah Love in that game. But I was very impressed about just how well they played. They got their get back from last year when they lost in College Station to Notre Dame. So I really love Marcel Reed and how he is controlling the ball, how he's moving the ball on offense. I would like to see more out of Texas A&M defense, but Texas A&M is legit, and I think they will shake up a lot of stuff in the SEC race.
Yeah, you talked about how loaded their receiver room is. Mario Craver, 7 receptions for 207 receiving yards in that game. I mean, way to step up and be the guy.
Yeah, I mean, that was a great game overall for sure. I'm a big fan of shootouts, but yeah, credit to Texas A&M. I think they probably felt like they always should have had a really good team under Jimbo Fisher, but never quite would have won these types of games. So, Mike Elko comes in year 2. I think they said it was Texas A&M's first ranked road win since 2014. So, been a while. Got to be feeling good right now. Marcel Reed played a hell of a game. Definitely the guy. Kind of interesting to see, too, like Notre Dame. What we've always known them for at least like the last decade is a great defense. And it just seems like their defense is nowhere to be found right now. And on the flip side of that, it's actually crazy. Their offense looked really good for the most part the other night. But yeah, it seems like it's not clicking for Notre Dame right now. Granted, they have 2 losses to 2 top 10 teams by a combined total of 4 points, but those were Notre Dame's 2 biggest games of the year. So moving forward, they basically need USC to win out, and they need to beat USC to have any shot at making the playoff. It's a little different than last year, I think, in the fact that you have 2 losses right off the bat. So
You have Boise State at home, Arkansas away. You said the USC game, that's at home. You have Pitt away and Syracuse at home. Those are your only notable games the rest of your schedule. So, does a two-loss Notre Dame get in if they win out? I would say so.
It would just depend on the other 2 lost teams, I think.
It does. And if you think last year, Texas A&M was probably their best win, which is a huge road win, even though Texas A&M finished like 8-4. But I think this year is going to look a lot different because the two best teams you played, you lost to. And at this point, it's like you need Boise State to win out, which even Boise State at this point has already lost to South Florida. Arkansas is probably going to be middle of the pack SEC like every other year, 6-6, 7-5. USC, I think, is their best shot. Is you need USC to win every other game on their schedule, and you need to beat them.
I think touching on Notre Dame a little bit, I think they'll be fine. CJ Carr, this is his first year starting. Had a couple blunders. He, I don't know if you guys saw, but I can't remember what point of the game it was, but he was letting the clock roll out. I think it was like the end of a quarter or 2-minute warning or something like that. He was getting ready to hike the ball. He was letting the clock run out, was walking away and clapped in frustration. Center thought it was the clap to hike the ball, like 10-yard loss, just completely ruined the drive. And then for those of you who are wondering how they won by 1 point, well, it was 34-34. Notre Dame scored. They're up 6. All you got to do is kick the PAT. Well, the backup quarterback fumbled the snap, actually made a great potential play, picked up the ball, scrambled left, actually had a guy wide open in the end zone, just completely overthrew it, and that's your backup quarterback. Texas A&M goes down, kicks a PAT to win by 1.
I do think, I do think we should mention that on the Texas A&M touchdown that tied the game before they kicked the extra point, there was a pretty blatant holding call where the Texas A&M offensive lineman literally tackled the Notre Dame defensive lineman and it didn't get called. But
yeah,
we do. It's part of the game.
We have Georgia. They weather the early storm and defeat Tennessee in overtime, 44-41. Q, you just said it. How Notre Dame lost with the field goal. This was another field goal game here where Tennessee could have easily won this game.
This was such a fantastic game to watch, though. This was like your perfect, this is why I love college football game. Tennessee Stadium where they do their checkered whatever, or, one section's white, one section's orange. Rocky Top was active. They were a great home environment. Jumped out to an early lead, but it seemed to me like Georgia kind of snapped out of it and kind of reminded themselves, we're the Georgia Bulldogs. We're the defending SEC champs. This is our conference. And admittedly, I wanted Tennessee to win the game, but it was truly 4th and 6 to tie the game, where Gunnar Stockton just throws the most unreal fade ball to his receiver, catches it, they tie the game. And that was the moment where I kind of felt like, yep, Georgia's not going anywhere. This is still Georgia. Kirby Smart's still the head coach. And, Tennessee, even after that, still had a shot to win the game at the end. But the second they missed that field goal, and then it went to overtime, I just kind of knew right there. I was like,
I knew too.
Game.
I knew too.
You could see it on the fans' faces, when they were showing the crowd after the missed field goal. It's yeah.
Right.
You touched on it with Stockton though. A young quarterback like that to come in on that 4th down would crack under pressure, and he looked like he was experienced. Showed a lot in that game.
My biggest thing about Tennessee's defense that drive was you're up 2 scores basically because you're up 8. Okay, you have to make Georgia score twice. So it's 4th and 6. You get that 4th down stop. Yeah, the game's likely over, but you'd rather make them convert a first. You'd rather have them convert a first down than a touchdown. So I don't get how you get beat that bad on a 4th and 6. And then okay, they scored. They have to score again for them to tie it. And then they picked that up, and I just didn't. I don't know. I don't know how you get beat on a 4th and 6 like that when you'd rather have them pick up the first down than them score the touchdown. So I was kind of frustrated with that, but this was kind of a good loss in Tennessee's standard because how the way they're entering the season, question mark with Joey Aguilar. I think this was a good loss because everybody's on the same page. Everybody knows that if Tennessee had a competent kicker that they would likely win the game. So I think Tennessee's fine.
Yeah, and for Joey Aguilar, going into this game, he had not played a power four football snap in his career, and to play like that, I mean, they looked like a playoff caliber team in this game for majority of the game.
I would totally agree. Like my takeaway is that Tennessee is a contender that's going to be there at the end of the year competing for a playoff spot. I do think it was interesting though. When Tennessee was up, what was it 35-30? They got the ball back and then they just ran the ball 3 times. Like they just got so conservative play calling offensively. And then again, like on the final drive where, I know that a field goal wins the game, but on the final drive where it was 38-38, like they literally just went so conservative play calling again. It's like you still have time and you have 3 timeouts. Like why would you not try and a lot of kickers can make a 48-yard field goal. I get it. But, like, why would you not try and make a 37-yard field goal? Why would you not try and at least do something more than, like, just say, you know what, we're good with it. We're going to accept our field goal.
Georgia Tech, they take down Clemson as the clock strikes 0, 24-21. Jake, Q, myself, we were all in on Clemson at the beginning of the year. Had them as our ACC championship team. Some had them winning the whole shebang. How are we feeling?
Not good.
Yeah, I can tell you this: they're not going to win the national championship. I can say that very confidently. I do. I don't know. It's Dabo and Clemson. Like, would it surprise me if next thing you know they rattle off 8 straight and they finish tied for second and somehow make it to the ACC championship in a tiebreaker? No, wouldn't surprise me at all.
Happened last year, kind of.
But I do think that I'm officially at the point where it's like Dabo needs to adapt if he wants to compete. Like they're always going to be good. I don't think you can ever fire him. He's won 2 national titles, and he's the only guy who's actually, beaten Nick Saban head to head twice for a national championship. So like he did it against the greatest coach of all time. But the game's just changed so much from, the 2015 to 2020 run that they went on.
Is it me or does Cade Klubnik not look like comfortable back there? Just trying to force stuff. And the biggest moments of the game too. I mean, you had 2 momentum drives, and one of the drives you fumble the ball, and one of them you throw a pick.
I just want to know what's going on with
There's no
just
explosiveness.
everything about that team. But the thing is, like, on paper, they should have 400 total offensive yards a game. Like,
Right.
I just don't understand what is happening inside that locker room or what is happening with Cade Klubnik. Because Cade Klubnik was average last year, but he still looked better last year than he does this year. So I just don't understand what is going on with that team.
Yeah, it makes no sense to me. I will say this: we should probably give credit to Georgia Tech. Haynes King, I think he accounted for like 312 of the team's 362 total yards or something. He literally had 25 carries for like 101 yards.
105 rushing yards,
like,
211 passing yards.
I am ready to say this. I don't know if they're Miami. I think Miami's probably the class of the ACC right now. But I'm ready to throw Georgia Tech right there with Florida State as, I'd say they're the next 2 in line.
I think the thing with Georgia Tech is like Haynes King, his health. I mean, he came into this game with a lower back injury, missed the game before, and he loves to run the ball, which I don't blame him. He's very good at it. But can he stay healthy? He dealt with an injury last year. I mean, he's already dealing with one this year. Like, how long will he last? Can he last all the way up till that ACC championship game?
He plays football like he doesn't care what his body is going to be like 20 years from now. And I absolutely love it.
Baker Mayfield.
Yeah.
Great example.
It's fun to watch, but like we talked about it with John Mateer, like, you can't do that every single week. And I think Georgia Tech has to, if I'm Brent Keys, which who am I to tell him how to coach a football team? But if I'm him, it's like, hey, we're not playing somebody very good this week. Haynes, you are not running the ball. We are going to establish the run with our running backs.
He destroys South Florida 49-12. Is this expected? Little too much competition at the beginning of the year. We're starting to run out of gas, possibly.
I think I think we all called that Miami would win by a lot. I mean, the silver lining for USF is that you picked up one of the two wins that you needed between Florida and Miami. So now if you win out, you're likely in the college football playoff. So, I mean, they did their part. I don't think there's that many teams that can hang with Miami this year. And we all have seen the cluster blank that has been Florida this year. So I think it was expected. I think USF is fine. I mean, Miami's fifth for a reason. So
yeah, South Florida, thanks for coming out. I truly Boise State last year, to their credit, they went to Oregon and lost in overtime by a field goal. South Florida just got absolutely smoked by Miami. I don't think I don't know. Let me just put it like this. Having Tulane as my group of 5 teams feeling pretty good right now.
I was just about to touch on that, because Q, you talked about South Florida, their resume, right? They should be able to get it. If Tulane beats Ole Miss this weekend at Ole Miss, I mean,
yeah, that's
Tulane just, in my opinion, Tulane just has to keep it close.
yeah.
Don't get blown out. If you can lose by 10, that's going to look good.
Miami
might be.
Yeah, Miami. You know what you're going to get out of Carson Beck. Obviously, this year he has his head on straight. He's not forcing the ball, making mistakes. He's about as good as you can get for a quarterback. But getting the run game going with him is Mark Fletcher Jr. 16 carries, 120 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns. If he's going, Carson Beck's going. This Miami team is very, very scary.
Gosh, what a turn of the page for me, because I absolutely love Carson Beck this year. I mean, this is coming from oh man, I love Carson Beck this year.
How do you feel about Mario Cristobal?
I hate that guy still. I hate that guy. I hate that guy. But I think Carson Beck is a good fit for Miami.
Silver lining, Mario Cristobal walks so Dan Lanning could run.
Dude, that is blasphemous. That is not even close to being true, dude. No. I'm not even gonna touch on Mario Cristobal. He doesn't deserve my breath of air to talk about him.
Other scores from around the country. You have Ohio State. They defeat Ohio 37-9. Penn State beats Villanova 52-6. LSU beats Florida 20-10. Oregon defeats Northwestern 34-14 on the road. Texas starts out slow, but they beat UTEP 27-10 and continues their underwhelming start to the season. Illinois takes care of Western Michigan 38-0. Vanderbilt goes to the road and takes down South Carolina 31-7. Theo Vaughn is going on a date with his mom, right?
It's his mom, but there is a caveat to that. So Diego Vaughn said yes, but you have to get me on a date with Tate McRae.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oklahoma travels with Temple, and they beat Temple 42-3. They've now allowed 19 points through 3 games. Iowa State survives the Arkansas State scare and wins 24-16. Ole Miss wins the shootout against Arkansas 41-35. Alabama defeats Wisconsin 38-14. Utah travels to Wyoming in a late game, wins on the road 31-6. Texas Tech dominates Oregon State and wins 45-14 after, I think, almost a 2-hour lightning delay. Michigan crushes Central Michigan 63-3. Auburn beats South Alabama 31-15, and Missouri defeats Louisiana 52-10. Any thoughts on any of those games?
Just a general statement, but a lot of people counted Alabama out after the Florida State loss, and I got to tell you, I bought stock when it was at its lowest, and Ty Simpson just might be the guy after all, fellas.
Can I say something? And I'm not trying to put my hatred on the table here, but in serious, let's talk about it. How good is Iowa State? Like, do we think they're actually good? Because Kansas State doesn't look that great anymore. It's not as good of a win as we thought.
To me, Iowa State is a top 20 team. And I can tell you right now, if you would have told any Iowa State fan you're going to make it 4-0 after the first 3 weeks and head into the bye week without a loss, we would take it no matter how it looks. I can't say that this is my own original thought, but I saw somebody tweet this and it looked, it basically sums up my thoughts on Iowa State. The Arkansas State game, they looked like a team that played week 0 in Ireland, flew back over the pond, looked great against South Dakota, which is what you should do, then played against Iowa, who's their biggest rival of the year. So you've now played your 2 biggest rivals in week 0 and week 2 of the season. And then you're traveling on the road to go play a group of 5 team where it's similar to an FCS team. Like, what does the group of 5 team have to lose? So I think
at home too.
Yeah, I think it's wear and tear. I think they're fine. If you would have told me we're going to be 4-0, I would have been like, done, sign me up, even if we win every game by 1. I do think Kansas State looks terrible right now, but when you go and play a game in Ireland in week 0, like, I don't care what the score is. Win the game, get out of there.
Also, like you mentioned a couple episodes ago, Jake, like that would be 100% a game Iowa State would lose 3 years ago, 4 years ago. But it's almost like the tides are turning. Like the luck is starting to turn up for Iowa State finally. Like they just find ways to win no matter how it is. Like that was a trap game. That was a game that they probably should have lost. But what was that? Oh, what was that? There was a controversial call at the end.
There were a lot, to be fair.
Yeah, but it's like like those calls are going for Iowa State's favor now, which in years past they would go against.
I don't know. I think the other thing too is like, hey, I'll be the first to say it. Brock Purdy, loved him. He was awesome as an Iowa State quarterback. Rocco Becht is the greatest Iowa State quarterback I've watched in my lifetime. Like,
wow,
he doesn't. And he's not going to put up the numbers, right? Like, he's not going to finish a game with 400 yards, 5 touchdowns. Like, that's not what our offense is. It's not what we ask him to do. But, like, when our backs are against the wall and we need a play, that dude makes a play. Like, and that to me is one of the biggest things you can have in football, right? Is a QB1 that when you need it in a have-to-have-it moment, you can rely on him. And that's who he is to the team. And I think he was good last year, but I think he's taken the next step to be great this year.
When you say that, it reminds me of I can't remember the exact game, but last year there's like 30 seconds on the clock and you needed a touchdown. He went and got it and got the win for you guys. Can't recall the exact game, but yeah, you are right. When you need something, he can go get it.
I think the only other thing I'd add would be the other thing with this game. I had seen that Iowa State had actually stayed in a hotel like in Tennessee, so they had to drive like 100 miles to play at Arkansas State from where they were staying, and then it's like 100 degrees. So I think they just looked tired. So the bye came at the perfect time. Probably would have been maybe a little bit better if it was after the Iowa game, but the only thing that matters is that there's no losses. Moving on, fellas. Players that shined. I'm going to start out. True freshman, the University of Cal Berkeley, the Golden Bears. Hawaiian phenom, left-handed Tua Tagovailoa 2.0. Ladies and gentlemen, Jaren Kiowa Sagapula Telly. 279 yards, 3 touchdowns, and I'm going to tell you this. If you have not watched Cal football, he's worth the watch because he probably won't be there in a year. He's probably going to get a great NIL deal and go somewhere else. But if he doesn't, you got to stay up late, stay up for that 11 p.m. Eastern, 10 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Mountain, and 8 p.m. Western Cal Golden Bear football games because that guy is a stud.
Can't believe you nailed that.
And I nailed too his name.
I'm going to go with Bryce Underwood here for my player that shined. You know, a true freshman getting embarrassed at Oklahoma, and people starting to question him and say he's overhyped and doubting him. And to come out and put on a performance like he did, that was very impressive and intriguing to me. He ran for 114 yards, had 2 rushing touchdowns, and threw for 235 passing yards, 16 of 25 on the day. Quarterback rating of a 97%. So he stepped up as a leader. A true freshman like that could fold very quick. And he showed me something that day. I do think it's to note here is Sharon Moore's out, and the coach that stepped in right now is letting him play his game, and it's working. So in the first 2 games with Sharon Moore, Bryce Underwood only had 5 rushing attempts. Under Biff Poggi, who is the coach right now from Michigan, stepping in while Sharon Moore faces his suspension, and 1 game has 9 rushing attempts. He's letting him play his game. He's a dual threat quarterback. So yeah, I think it could be a coaching error there, and maybe they found something out and they can explore that now. So yeah, he's my player that shined.
Mine, I'm going with Chris Brazzell II out of Tennessee. He had 6 receptions for 177 yards and 3 touchdowns. These touchdowns, two of these touchdowns, the most beautiful touchdowns I've ever seen in my life. They were mossed. One of them was mossed in the end zone. The other was a 72-yard bomb that he mossed. I mean, this dude has taken over the number 1 wide receiver position for Tennessee after Dante Thornton left. And I love it. I mean, the fact that he's stepping into that role with a brand new quarterback and starting to get chemistry, I'm excited to see if he kind of sneaks into the Biletnikoff Award finalist, but probably not. Maybe, I don't know, but this dude had a breakout game. If you haven't seen his touchdowns, you need to go watch them. Moving on to teams that shined, I chose LSU defense. Wasn't super impressed with LSU's offense, but their defense picked off Lagway 5 times with 1 pick six. But outside of that pick six, they only scored 3 points off of the other 4 interceptions. So offense was kind of lackluster, but I mean, you can make a case that LSU has the best defense in the nation. And I mean, it looks like it's ringing true.
I have the Vanderbilt Commodores as my teams that shine this week. Went on the road to South Carolina. Didn't just win the game, but won the game handily. Now, yes, Lenore Sellers didn't play. Well, he started, but obviously he got hurt throughout the game. But even at that point in the game, Vanderbilt was still winning. So big 31-7 win. And then if you're looking ahead as a Vanderbilt fan, you got to be feeling good. So they have Georgia State and Utah State the next 2 games. So if you would have told a Vanderbilt fan 5 years ago, hey, 2025, you guys are going to start out 5-0, they'd probably think you're crazy. But, who knows? Get a couple more in the conference, and maybe you're a 9-3 team at the end of the year. I don't want to say anything higher than that, but they're definitely a frisky SEC team for sure.
My team that shined, we talked about them earlier, so I won't stay long on them. But Georgia, they fought, they didn't give up, they played from behind in that game. Got the victory in a tough road game at Tennessee. A lot of people doubted Gunnar Stockton, and he lived up to it in that game. So made 0 mistakes, made the correct reads. Defense got the stops when they needed. So yeah, this Georgia team answered a lot of questions for me. We'll go into the updated top 25 rankings here. I'm going to go through them at the end, instead of like stopping like we have been, just at the end we'll talk about them. So we have Ohio State starting out at 1, Penn State 2, LSU 3, Miami 4. They jumped up a spot. Georgia 5. They jumped up a spot as well. Oregon 6. They got the win. They did fall back 2 spots. Florida State goes up 3. They sit at 7. 8 Texas. 9 Illinois. 10 Texas A&M. They jumped up 6 spots. 11 Oklahoma. 12 Iowa State. 13 Ole Miss. 14 Alabama. 15 Tennessee. 16 Utah. They jumped up 4 spots. Right behind them is 17 Texas Tech. They jumped up 4 spots as well. Those two play each other this week. 18 we have Georgia Tech. 19 Indiana. 20 Vanderbilt. 21 Michigan. 22 Auburn. 23 Missouri. 24 Notre Dame. They fell back 16 spots. And then 25 is USC. Agree, disagree?
Couple ones I want to comment on. First of all, a lot of people wrote Alabama off. A lot of people after that Florida State loss, and I'll be the first person to tell you they're not going anywhere. The other one, Notre Dame, has been a pretty big conversation on the AP poll Twitter. Everybody's upset that they're still ranked because they're 0-2, which I get, and I like to, dog on the AP poll as much as the next guy. But I guess in my mind, like, you've lost to 2 top 10 teams by a combined total of 4 points. Like, they're absolutely a top 25 team. You can't tell me that they're not.
I'd agree. I'd go Oklahoma too. I feel like they're just outside of the top 10, sitting at 11. I think they're a top 8 team in the country. I mean, they have the Heisman frontrunner right now in John Mateer, who is just balled out.
Yeah.
We got a little coaching carousel going on around college football right now. UCLA and Virginia Tech fired both of their head coach. Any thoughts on either of those two teams? Who do you think is next for both teams?
I couldn't even begin to tell you like who those teams would be eyeballing as their next coach. Like, I feel like we talked about, who's going to take over for Kirk Ferentz when he's done. Like, I feel like we could at least make an educated guess on that, being from Iowa. But like, I have no idea who would go to UCLA or who would go to Virginia Tech. I really don't.
I know I saw on Twitter Virginia Tech is wanting to hire a general manager to look over their football operations. So, I mean, kind of the same route as like Stanford. Andrew Luck is their GM over there. I do think, Brent Pry, his record at Virginia Tech was 16-24 over 4 seasons. And you think of Virginia Tech, you think of Enter Sandman, walkout. You think of, Frank Beamer, the days when he had Virginia Tech as one of the best football schools in the country. I do think Alex Goulash, the head coach for South Florida right now, I think he would be a great fit for UCLA or Virginia Tech. I think Virginia Tech would fit his scheme a little bit more. He's 16-3 since taking over that head coaching job at South Florida. He came from Tennessee as their offensive coordinator, so he has some SEC experience. So yeah, I think he could be one. I know there's a lot of talk of Mike Vick being one of the head coaches. I don't think that's going to happen.
He just took the Sacramento State job too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was kind of deep into Virginia Tech Twitter, incidentally, a couple days ago, and there was a guy who's like dead serious throwing out, like, you make the call to Nick Saban. And it's like, Virginia Tech is not that, though. Like, Virginia Tech is not in that echelon of college football teams. If Ryan Day got fired, Ohio State could make that call. Like, there are maybe 5 teams that could make a call to Nick Saban and at least make some type of a pitch. And he'd probably say no to all of them because, we know his stance on NIL and the new era of college football. But Virginia Tech, I don't think is in that category of football teams.
Right.
I think we could all agree with that.
Yeah.
I think UCLA, like I said, I have no idea, but I think the first thing they probably need to do is build a stadium on campus. Like they play in the most prestigious college football venue in the country. Their home games are literally at the Rose Bowl. It's like 45 minutes from campus, so the stadium's always like 25% filled.
So
which is just sad.
Yeah, both of these firings we saw coming, and both were needed.
Yeah, for sure.
Any teams that we're concerned about at the moment, maybe out on?
I'd say Florida. Florida and Notre Dame. I'm out on Florida, but I'm just kind of concerned about Notre Dame. They really don't have any room for error now. You drop one more game, you're automatically eliminated from the playoffs. You got to play your best 10 games, really. There's no room for error. Florida, I'm out on. I don't care how much they improve their schedule. Their schedule holds them back. That's a gauntlet for any team, and a team that is being coached by Billy Napier. That's just a recipe for disaster. So,
I think he's next to walk out the door. I seriously, I think if they lose this week, I know what you said, Jake, earlier, but dude, the game plan and the preparation that they have going into these games is so bad, and that comes back on the coaching. You can't tell me DJ Lagway with 5 interceptions. Dude, that is bad, and he's way better than what he performed.
You take away the pick six and you take away another pick. DJ throws 3 picks and still has a chance to win the game. You get 2 of those possession backs. Who knows what happened? I think that was an improvement for Florida against LSU. I just think DJ played terrible.
Yeah, I think there's 2 separate conversations to be had. I think you're right. Napier is definitely the next person to go, and I don't think he makes it to the end of the season. But your quarterback threw for 5 interceptions. I'm not going to blame that on Billy Napier. You can blame the game plan on him. You can blame a lot of things on him, but DJ Lagway is the one throwing 5 picks.
And those picks were bad.
They were
bad.
terrible.
Oh my gosh.
That's what I mean. You can't. Billy Napier deserves to be fired. Don't get me wrong, but not because DJ Lagway threw 5 interceptions.
Throwing 5 picks and a pick 6 and losing by 10 at LSU that's a win for Florida. That's insane.
Jake, talking about teams to be concerned with, are you starting to worry about your Buffs?
Yeah. I don't know. I think that for no reason other than I don't even know what the reason was, but to me, Keaton Salter should still be the starter. Everybody overreacted to week 1. He played fine in week 2 in the 2 possessions he played. And then all of a sudden Ryan Staub is a starting quarterback, which whatever, I don't care. But I think everybody just literally overreacted to losing to a good Georgia Tech team. He missed some throws, absolutely, but you can't throw for 300 yards and 4 touchdowns every single week. That's just how it is. So I am concerned about him. I don't know. Post Shadur Travis era, maybe not off to the best start, but we'll see. I still think they're a 6-6 team, 7-5, 10-2.
Any teams that
12-0
that you're impressed with? Kind of took you by surprise here.
I think the 2 teams I already touched on, but Vandy for sure. And then to me, it's been. I'm sure a lot of listeners probably don't stay up late enough to watch the full games, but I talked about Cal's freshman quarterback. Your Cal Golden Bears right now, fellas, are 3-0 in the driver's seat for the ACC, tied for second with a 0-0 conference record. I mean, jokes aside, though, they are like I haven't had a reason to watch Cal football in my entire life. He has given me a reason to watch Cal football. So
Not even the Jared Goff days.
nope. But Minnesota came to town. It was a tough non-conference game this past weekend, and they won 27-14 pretty handily. So I think it's them. I think Texas A&M. I think LSU has impressed me, but now it's like I'm kind of sure we're all in the same boat where you're like taking a step back, and now you see that Clemson and Florida are both 1-2, and you're kind of wondering after how bad the offenses looked, are they as good as we initially thought they were? But still, if you told an LSU fan Brian Kelly was going to win a week 1 opener, they'd take it.
I'd say Georgia Tech. I did not expect them to be as good as they are. I don't know how long it will last. Injury history with Haynes King. But right now, yeah, that's the team I'm most impressed with. Q, do you have any?
I'd say Miami. I I think we all know that Miami's defense kept them out of the playoffs last year, and it may very well be that Miami's defense makes them make the playoff this year. I'm really impressed with how good their defense has gotten over 1 year, and I'm very impressed with how good their defensive line is too. And we all know how I feel about Carson Beck right now, but I'm very impressed with Miami. Talk of the town, week 0 was Clemson, and now Miami's kind of in the driver's seat.
Right. Speaking of Miami, we have some new Heisman odds here, boys. John Mateer is the front runner. Officially, Q, you picked up on that. I think week 2 when we did SEC talk, you were very high on him. You nailed that. He looks great so far. Q, you also picked up on Carson Beck early. He is at the number 2 spot at the Heisman. Number 3, Q. Dante Moore, Oregon. And then 4, you have Garrett Nussmeier, who was sitting at second in the preseason behind Cade Klubnik. Cade Klubnik isn't even in the top 10 anymore. Thoughts?
Where's Arch at?
Arch, not in the
30th.
top 10. Yep. That's another team I'm kind of concerned about, Texas.
I would agree with that. I know we already talked about it, but I think we should talk about Texas for a minute, only because the week 1 loss to Ohio State, dude, I don't hold any of that against them. That's a good loss. You lost to Ohio State on the road. But then I definitely expected them week 2 and week 3, all right, let's get the offense rolling. It's time to just beat the crap out of inferior opponents, and they have not done so.
No. And they start so slow. Even in the Ohio State game, they started slow in that one too. And then finally got it going and late in the third and the fourth quarter. It makes no sense to me. And Arch doesn't look obviously we haven't seen much of him, but to the hype that he was getting, he has not lived up to that whatsoever.
Yeah. There's some trouble in paradise. With that, gentlemen, it's officially week 4. Pretty good slate of games. We start out where big noon kickoff is going to be. Texas Tech travels to take on the Utah Utes as both teams enter 3-0 for the respective Big 12 openers. I believe I saw that Texas Tech has played the easiest schedule to date. But if there's one person to watch this game, it's quarterback Baron Morton. Enters with 11 touchdowns and 1 pick, and he's averaging over 300 yards a game. On the flip side, it is Devin Dampier. He's got a 73% completion percentage, 8 total touchdowns, no interceptions, and simultaneously, he's Utah's leading rusher. I think on the Texas Tech side of things, it's really our first chance to truly see their portal additions against a real opponent, right? That's, they've done what they're supposed to do up to this point, but this is your first true test. In hindsight 2020, you can say the same thing about Utah. They scheduled 2 road games early on, UCLA week 1 and Wyoming this past week, but Turns out UCLA might be one of the worst teams in the country, and for the most part, they didn't look great against Wyoming, at least in the first half. They had a good second half, but I do think the quarterbacks is the big story in this game. Aaron Morton versus Devin Dampier. Again, I'm going to shine some light on Utah every time I talk about them. If you guys have not watched them yet, to our listeners, watch that offensive line just do work. They run the ball and they run the ball and they run the ball, and it's a beautiful piece of magic. That being said, got the current line, Utah minus 2.5, over under 57.5. Who do we like and why, fellas?
I think this could be very well be your Big 12 championship in Jerryville later down in the year. I think these are the two
For
top
sure.
top teams in the Big 12. For Texas Tech to win this, they need to stop the run because you put Devin Dampier. Obviously, he can pass the ball, but if you put him in a 3rd and long situation, keep those minimal, second and sevens, third and 2 things to eliminate the RPOs and everything, and force him to throw long passes. I think that would be key. You know, Utah runs the ball at a 60% rate, so that's huge. And then Utah's defense as well. Like you put pressure on Baron Morton here, and I think that could be the key to success. Texas Tech loves to throw the deep ball. If you can eliminate that and your secondary stay disciplined throughout the game, I think this would be Utah's game to lose here. Also, I think you need to note for the listeners, Utah's home record since 2020 is 20-2. I'm going to take those odds. I will take Utah to win this.
You like a minus 2.5, though?
I do.
Got it.
I also like Utah on this one. I picked them to win the Big 12. I think this is going to be an amazing game to watch. I think I'm very impressed with Utah's revamped defense. They kind of had a revamped defense this year, and it's been panning out pretty good. So I think, you touched on it, Mike. I think their secondary has to be very locked down this week with how air raid Texas Tech is. But yeah, Jake, to what you said, I am kind of looking forward to see how the portal pieces, mesh with Texas Tech finally. I don't know. I think it's going to be a battle of quarterbacks. Dampier has been slinging the rock better than last year. I don't know. I'm going to take Utah as well. I'm going to tease it minus 5.5. I think it'll be a touchdown back and forth game. Oh yeah.
I think you also want to pick up on like Utah's defense ranks 6th in the country right now in sack rate. So like how you said, Utah, or not Utah, but Texas Tech, they love to aerate the ball. Like if you're putting pressure on him all game, he's not going to have the time to find his man deep. And I think that sack rate defense for them is going to be huge. So yeah, love Utah on this one.
I'm with you guys right there. I trust the Kyle Whittingham program and a Kyle Whittingham defense more than I trust Joey McGuire. And I also think, like you said, Mike, this is one of the toughest places to play. And I think Texas Tech is more than capable of winning a game in a shootout. But let me ask you this. Are you more than capable of winning a 23-19 football game? Because Utah is. And I almost think that's kind of what it's going to be. It's going to be kind of an uglier, lower scoring game. But that being said, I do like Utah minus 2.5. Moving down the line, fellas. Afternoon slate. The Auburn Tigers and QB1 Jackson Arnold make their return to Norman, Oklahoma in a clash between two undefeated SEC teams. Auburn enters, like I said, 3-0. Week 1 road win over Baylor. Two kind of cupcake teams since then. But they are, I think the story coming into this game is that Auburn's battling the injury bug right now. You got Amaris Williams, Champ Anthony, Damari Alston, Eric Singleton Jr., Jay Crawford, and Malcolm Simmons, all either questionable or out for the game. But you know who they do have? They have Jackson Arnold. 4 passing touchdowns, 4 rushing touchdowns on the year. That's kind of Auburn's game, is running the football down your throat, averaging over 200 yards a game right now. Then the Oklahoma side, we've touched on it, but if you're an Oklahoma fan, you got to be feeling pretty good right now. SEC feels as wide open as I can remember it. You know, you got your key win against Michigan in week 2. Seems like you've righted the ship at the most important position in football at quarterback with John Mateer. He's really brought life back into the offense. And as long as Brent Venables is there, they're going to have a great defense. You know, you said it in the recap, Mike. Oklahoma's allowed 19 points in 3 games. Lines Oklahoma minus 6.5, over under 47.5. Who do we like and why?
I was surprised to see how high the spread was, how high it opened up as. I've said this before. I think Oklahoma has the best defense in the SEC, but I'm also, it sucks because before the season started, I was really high on both teams. You know, I knew Auburn would be this good. I knew they would sneak their way into the rankings, but I don't know. I don't think Auburn is 6.5 points worse than Oklahoma. I think Auburn does things well that Oklahoma doesn't. I think Oklahoma does things well that Auburn doesn't. A thing that Auburn does well is run the ball. But a thing that Oklahoma does well is stop the run. So I'm interested to see how John Mateer does in a big game like this. But I don't know. I think Auburn has a top 3 receiver in Cam Coleman. I think Cam Coleman is better than Eric Singleton Jr., not by much, but I love watching Cam Coleman play. He's big, he's strong, he's fast, he high points the ball well. I would lean towards Oklahoma. I mean, spoiler alert, I put this game on my card in Oklahoma's favor. But I'm interested to see how well Auburn runs the ball in this game, and if they don't, will they lean on Jackson Arnold to piece up Oklahoma's secondary, and how well will he do that? I don't have any worries about Oklahoma's offense in this game. I think it'll be a defensive battle, though, on both sides.
I think Oklahoma's defense is going to be too much for Auburn's offensive line to handle. I think they're going to put constant pressure on Jackson Arnold. I think he's going to struggle. You know, going back to Oklahoma, the reunion game, the crowd is going to be amped up. You know, Brent Venables is going to have something out of nowhere planned to throw Jackson Arnold for a loop here. I think the pressure is just going to get to him. He's going to try to do too much and force some balls out there that will create some mistakes. So I touched on it earlier. I think Oklahoma's a top 8 team in the country right now. Just giving me Baker Mayfield, Oklahoma vibes. Yeah, I love Oklahoma in this game.
Yeah, I think, you guys each hit it. I think the game plan for Oklahoma is make Jackson Arnold throw the football. And I think they're going to be able to do it. That's been the one constant under Brent Venables, is that Oklahoma's going to have a great defense. I mean, that's what he was for 10, 12 years at Clemson when they were on top of the college football world. So I'm with you guys. I love Oklahoma in this one.
Q, before we move on, you said that you want to know how like Oklahoma does in a big moment. Are you saying the Michigan game wasn't a big moment game for them?
No, I'm saying like against like a conference opponent, because Oklahoma could afford to lose that Michigan game and still make the playoffs. But this game is more important than the Michigan game for sure. But I don't know. I think Jackson I think John Mateer is going to do great. I think he's going to put up Heisman numbers again. But I think I don't know if he'll start to feel the pressure of SEC play, which is kind of what I'm interested to see.
I think to me that Michigan game was like, if you're in a shooting slump, you just need to see one go through the net. John Mateer wasn't in a slump by any means. I mean, he had a great year at Washington State last year, but I think that was like his prove it game. And now it's like, all right, I'm the guy. Like, this is my team.
Yeah.
So he's already had that moment. And I think the other thing too is, it'd be cool to see Auburn kind of be relevant in college football again. But the more I think about it, the less impressed I am with the Baylor win. I mean, it's a good win, but like they gave up 400 plus passing yards to Sawyer Robertson. Like to me, Oklahoma's got a better offense than Baylor does. They may not pass the ball as heavy, but they're a more efficient offense and they have a better defense. So I think it's, what are you going to do when you get punched in the mouth and you can't run the ball every play?
Right.
Moving on, fellas, we're going to jump into the Big Ten here. Another afternoon game. The Michigan Wolverines travel to Memorial Stadium to take on the Nebraska Cornhuskers. I think this is another game. It's kind of been the common theme with this week, but it's a very interesting quarterback battle. We have true freshman Bryce Underwood with Michigan traveling to take on Matt Rule, Dylan Raiola, and the Huskers. Little Patty Mahomes Jr., if you will. He's thrown for 829 yards, 8 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions thus far. And they also have a revamped wide receiver room from last year. Again, the common theme kind of going into conference play is a lot of teams haven't really played anybody yet. So you do what you can with the information you have, but they've taken care of business. Bryce Underwood on the other side, I mean, I think it's a good spot for him in the fact that he's already gotten the first true road start out of the way. I think going to Oklahoma is tougher than going to Nebraska. But Wolverines are still without Sharon Moore. That being said, I got a couple stats for you, fellas. Nebraska has lost 13 straight home games against AP-ranked opponents. They've been unable to cover the spread in their last 6 against ranked teams at home. Year 3 under Matt Rule. If not now, when?
And it's going to be now. I'm taking Nebraska. I think this is the perfect game for them to win. And let me tell you, this game screams 13-10. I think this is going to be a low-scoring, boring game until a game or a go-ahead field goal happens in the fourth quarter at some point. But I'm impressed with Dylan Raiola this year. I know we haven't really seen him play competition since Cincinnati when he played in Arrowhead, but I mean he's throwing the ball well. The defense is playing very, very well. On the flip side, that's a good point, Jake. Playing at Oklahoma is probably harder than playing at Nebraska, but I will say I've been to Memorial Stadium before, and it literally shakes. It's insane. It's a surreal experience.
As I said that too, I kind of questioned it in my mind because obviously Nebraska's been down for a while, but they have never stopped selling out games. And like I give credit to the fan base. Like that team has not been the same since they let go of Bo Pelini, but like they've still gone out there because what else can you do in Nebraska? Like they eat, sleep, and breathe Husker football.
Yeah. Well, there's no Nebraska State to compete with. Like everybody in Nebraska is a Nebraska fan.
Right.
But yeah, I'm gonna take Nebraska though. I'm gonna take Nebraska to win. What's that?
It's the Bussin' Bowl as well, right?
Yep.
Big time game here.
I'm assuming they'll be there.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if Nebraska wins this, playoff talks get very, very real for them. I know I had them making the playoffs last year, but all you have left is USC and Penn State and Iowa. Those are your tough games on your schedule. So you have USC at home, Penn State on the road, and Iowa at home. So I don't know, dude. I like Bryce Underwood a lot. Dylan Raiola is a dog. I'm going to take the better defense in this game. I'm going Michigan.
Take the safe play, whatever.
Yeah, it's kind of the coward's way out, Mike.
All right, I'm on Nebraska. Give me Nebraska.
No, don't let us flip you.
No, here's the thing. It's like I said. I mean, you look at the track record. Year 3 under Matt Rule. Teams take the next step. If not now, when?
I think the sense of urgency for Michigan right now is like you have to win. You know, you already have one loss under your record. You have USC, you have Ohio State later down on the road. You know, I don't think a 3-loss, 4-loss team, you know, gets in to the playoffs. So sense of urgency is high for them, and I think this is a must-win game for them.
I don't disagree with that, Mike, but I think that I don't think they're in the same tier of a football team that they were 2 years ago. Like I think there's a good chance they will be, you know, in year 2 and year 3 under Bryce Underwood. I don't think they're there right now. And I'm going to say it. I just want Nebraska to be back. I do. Like I'm rooting for them.
I have preseason making the playoffs.
I'm taking the Skurs. Just give them to me money line at the point. You know, it's +2.5. Why not?
I will say I don't have a good, and Mike can attest this because he was with me when I watched this game. I don't have a good track record of saying, if not now, when? Because last year, Penn State versus Ohio State. Penn State needed to win for James Franklin to get over the hump. I said, if not now, when? You know, it was perfect. Penn State looks sharp. It's at home. No. Oh my gosh, it's getting me worked up right now. I was so mad. I was so mad.
The problem is, Q, you don't have a good track record with anything. I mean,
oh yeah, I do, because it's changed. I'm changing the narrative right now. I'm saying, if not now, when for Nebraska? If not now, when? So I'm taking Nebraska.
Hey, the good thing about when you're wrong about saying if not now, when is that you can say it the next opportunity.
And it's here.
Did you guys see that DM on our? I don't know if you guys get the notifications on our Instagram, but we got a DM from some guy named Ralph that was just bashing the crap out of Q on his picks.
Was he really?
Yeah.
Who?
His name's Ralph. I have here. I'll send you a screenshot. Talk about it after, but yeah.
I don't know.
Ralph, you don't know what you're talking about, bud.
I might have just convinced myself to take Nebraska money line as my lock. Don't everybody get excited at once.
I can't tell if you're serious, dude.
He's not.
We're going to find out. Final game we'll preview. It is a ranked Big Ten matchup this week when Illinois travels to take on Indiana. Another matchup where each team enters 3-0. They're both ranked. It's actually only the second time in their history where they are both ranked. The last time being 1950. Illinois, we've touched on them before. You know, they have strong expectations for this season. They brought back a lot from last year's team. I think they're hoping that they take the next step in the Big Ten echelon. Week 2, they had a strong road win against Duke. Offensively, they didn't look great, but they did force 5 Duke turnovers. And when I say force, it's kind of like force because Duke kind of forced their own turnovers. But Indiana on the flip side, again, it's one of those where by week 6, we'll probably know a lot more about them. But Kurt Signetti took the SEC scheduling approach, apparently. You know, they haven't played anybody yet. So here's what I'm going to say about Indiana. Fernando Mendoza is the exciting QB that has taken over as QB1. And if you don't know Kurt Signetti, Google him. He wins games.
I knew that was going to get brought up.
Current line is Indiana -5.5, over and under 52.5. Who do we like and why, fellas?
I like Illinois spread. I don't know if they'll win the game. I don't like that it's a night game. But I like Illinois spread just because they've been battle tested. You know, they picked up that road win at Duke. Indiana hasn't played anybody, and I think that's going to bite them in the butt here. Let me read you this because these stats are eerily similar by these quarterbacks. Altmaier, 56 of 78. This is throughout the year, by the way. Altmaier, 56 of 78. Mendoza, 55 of 76. Altmaier, 8 passing touchdowns. Mendoza, 9 passing touchdowns. Altmaier, 709 passing yards. Mendoza, 708 passing yards. So very, very similar quarterback play, very even quarterback play. I would lean Altmaier. I'm not going to say because of experience. Mendoza was a dog at Cal last year, but I just think he's the better, well-rounded quarterback. Very well. He's extremely well at controlling the ball, not making dumb mistakes. Completion percentage is very high. I'll take Illinois points. Just because Indiana hasn't played anybody, I really think it's going to bite them in the butt. Illinois has a decently quality win at Duke, killed Duke too. So I'll take Illinois to cover.
You took the words right out of my mouth, Played a tougher competition in Duke. Duke's supposed to be something this year. Luke Altmaier has 0 interceptions on the year so far, does not make mistakes, calm, finds the reads. I love Illinois in this, and they have a very good defense. So
I'm right there with you guys. I like Illinois to cover the spread. I don't know if I like them to win, but I like the fact that they've actually played a road game already. I like the fact that they've at least tried to schedule a decent opponent. Even if Duke turns out to not be great, you at least scheduled the game. So, I think that Indiana not being battle-tested whatsoever, I like Illinois. Moving on, a few other notable games around the country. The Pac-12 rivalries are back this week. Got Washington and Washington State, along with Oregon and Oregon State. Arkansas at Memphis, pretty intriguing game. Memphis is 3-0. Group of 5 team we haven't really touched on, but there's a chance for them to also get a signature win this week. SMU travels to TCU. Tulane at Ole Miss. I think we briefly mentioned this, but again, this is a huge opportunity for Tulane to kind of cement their spot as the group of 5 team to beat. South Carolina at Missouri. Got Arizona State at Baylor. Michigan State at USC. North Carolina travels to UCF. Syracuse at Clemson. And then Florida at Miami in a matchup that probably looked a lot better about 2 weeks ago. So good little slate of games for week 4.
I'm going to be locked in on that Tulane Ole Miss game. I mean,
That's going to be a big one.
Yeah.
With that, it's time to jump into the cards, fellas. Through 3 weeks, I am 6-9 overall. Michael is 7-8. Q is 5-10. We're all just a pinch below 500. It's a great week for a bounce back. If not now, when? That being said, to start out my card, I have the Nebraska Cornhuskers plus 2.5. I have Miami minus 7.5. The spread, for some reason, scares me, yet at the same time, I remind myself not to overthink it, and there's no reason Miami shouldn't just throttle Florida. I got Notre Dame on a minus 25.5. It hasn't worked out great for me this year, but I do like Notre Dame. It's a position where we got to get things going. We got to get them going fast. Then Vanderbilt minus 27.5. It's another big spread. For those of you that don't know, they're playing Georgia State this weekend. They lost to Georgia State last year.
Revenge game.
Yep, this is a revenge game. If you ask me, that Georgia State loss last year is really kind of what got Vanderbilt trending in the right direction. Little come to Jesus moment for the team, maybe. So that's what I got.
I kind of want to take a game out, but I'm not going to. I'll just start with that game. Michigan at Nebraska. I said it earlier. Michigan minus 1.5. Give it to me. I think the better defense is going to get the job done late in the game in the fourth quarter. I'm just going to start with that before I take it off my card. Second game, Maryland at Wisconsin. Give me Maryland. They have shown all year that they can put up points. Wisconsin cannot move the ball on the offensive side. Give me Maryland plus 10.5. Georgia State at Vanderbilt. Jake, you talked about it. Vanderbilt This is their redemption game here. They just whooped up on South Carolina. I know Lenore Sellers was hurt, but putting 31 points up against South Carolina's defense is impressive. And Georgia State's defense isn't going to come nowhere near South Carolina's defense. So give me 27.5 at home, Vanderbilt. Auburn at Oklahoma. I think this Oklahoma team is the real deal. Like I said earlier, they're a top 8 team in the country in my eyes. I think that crowd is going to be bumping. It's going to be too much for Jackson Arnold. Give me Oklahoma minus 6.5.
Starting off my card, I'm going to take the team that is led by the quarterback that has the second highest QBR in the nation right now. I'm taking Arkansas minus 7 at Memphis. Yes, Taylon Green has the second best QBR in the nation right now. He's playing lights out, though. He's playing really good. I was very impressed with how he played against Ole Miss. So give me Arkansas minus 7. I got Oklahoma minus 6.5. I already touched on that game. I have Oregon over 55.5 against Oregon State. Northwestern was very, very good at controlling the ball. They usually are. But I think this game, 1, it's a rivalry game. 2, we have covered that. We have covered 55.5 by ourselves our first 2 home games. So I got over 55.5, and then I have Illinois plus 6 against Indiana. Already touched on that game, so that is my card.
Getting into the lock of the weeks, I'm struggling here.
Well, you don't have your lock yet?
No, I have my lock, but you have my lock on your card, and odds are not in my favor if I take that.
Ooh, fair.
Well,
Actually, I'll bet on any game that you touch right now.
Do it, bud.
I'm with you. I might have to change my lock.
I'm gonna go last.
Here's
here.
Arkansas.
I'm gonna go last. Anyways, lock of the week parlay standings are sitting at Jake. You're still at the top. You lost last week, but you started out 2-0. You are now 2-1. Myself, I am 2-1. Clayton is 1-2. Took a loss last week. Q 0-3. Ralph has some words to say. He might be coming for Q's job. I don't know. We'll talk about that after the episode. Maybe we can get him on. I have no clue. Q, lead it off because I might be changing my lock.
Ralph, I don't know you, but I really don't like you. My lock is Missouri minus 9.5 against South Carolina. Lenore Sellers, his availability is in question. Shane Beamer had originally said that he was going to be available, and then when asked about the Wednesday night, it's actually coming out right now. So when asked about the Wednesday night availability report for the SEC, he denied and just said, "You'll see the report." That kind of doesn't make me feel good about him playing, but regardless, when South Carolina has fallen behind this year, their passing game really hasn't proven productive. And Missouri is looking sharp on both sides of the ball. Bo Pribula is looking really, really good, really, really accurate, really, really smart for having his first year starting. I think there's more. I think there's more faucets to win the game through Missouri than through South Carolina. I think South Carolina is going to have a really hard time stopping Missouri's offense. And if Lenore Sellers does not play, I think Missouri will handle South Carolina's offense kind of like Vandy did. But I got Missouri minus 9.5.
Fellas, are we familiar with the Showtime rotisserie?
No.
You're going to have to jog my memory.
There was an infomercial back in the day with a little catchphrase called "Set it and forget it." Looking at locks this week, sometimes I overthink. I look too long. I never know where I'm going to wind up. This week, trusting my gut, not overthinking it. Oklahoma minus 6.5. Just set it and forget it, fellas.
Yeah. Q, I'm going with you. I'm going with your theory here, Jake. Set it. Forget it here. Trust your gut. I'm going to take Oregon. Oregon State might be the worst team in the country. They have no defense whatsoever. They're actually ranked one of the worst defenses out there. And they're going up against one of the best offenses in the country. So give me Oregon minus 34.5.
You forgot a key point. We own Oregon State, so that's all you need to know. I like it.
Year where they created.
We don't talk about that loss. Okay, it didn't really matter. It just didn't matter. So,
Mike, I think I'd really like to help you out, but I think that line's 35.5. Does that change your mind?
I would rather take the spread or the over.
Set it.
If my ESPN app would work, there it goes.
Why are you looking at ESPN spreads?
I don't know if I'm not looking at their spreads, the games.
What is ESPN now? Other than how to ruin red zone and everything else that's good in our society.
It's at
Gosh, I had to pay to add that to my YouTube TV. Stupid.
Well, that's always been the case.
No,
God,
I watched Red Zone last year for free. I had YouTube TV, but now I had to do an add-on for YouTube TV just for Red Zone.
I hate to be the one to break it to you, but you definitely paid for it.
No, I didn't. I'll show you the receipts right now. No, I just paid for it, and I didn't last year. I have the receipts.
I trust my gut because the other game I'm thinking about, when I look at it, I'm like, don't do it. So 35.5.
What game?
Georgia Tech game.
Oh, you're doing the spread?
Set it and forget it, baby.
What was the other game though? I'm just curious.
Georgia Tech minus 23.5 against Temple at home.
Hangover win.
What's the points in the Oregon game?
35.5. The over-under is 55.5. That's on my card, not the spread.
Yeah,
over 55.5.
I don't want that. Give me the spread. I don't want anything you're touching. Don't want to deal with it.
Okay, bud. When it's 42-41 and Oregon wins, we'll see who has the last laugh.
Fact.
Jake, got a question for you. Would you know what it feels like to be at the bottom?
I hate to say it, but I do.
Yeah, dude, you guys are getting so worked up over the first couple weeks. I'm sitting back just waiting, dude. I'm sitting back just waiting.
We're just waiting to replace you with Ralph.
Hey, cool, calm, and collected over here.
I should try to see.
You win 1 week, Mike, and you think you won the Super Bowl. You got 9 weeks to go, bud.
Yeah, Mike. You think you won the Super Bowl, dude.
You think you won the Super Bowl, dude.
You got 9 plus 2 additional weeks to go.
Yeah.
Could I take a game off my card?
No.
Before we move on here.
Sure.
What are you going to replace it with?
Just because everyone's on it, I'm just going to take Auburn, the Oklahoma game. Everybody's already on it, so I'm going to take that off. Give the listeners another game here. Give me West Virginia against Kansas. Give me Kansas minus 13.5. Coming off
You're letting the fandom cloud your vision.
Tough loss against Missouri. Just throw it on the card. Not my lock, but throw it on the card. Replace that with Oklahoma.
I like it. I really like it, Mike.
Thanks, buddy.
I think it's going to pay dividends.
Q, before we end it here, do you have anything to say to anybody? Any of the listeners out there that have been following your bets?
Yeah. Rome wasn't built in a day. It wasn't built in 3 weeks, some would say. But did they make progress throughout the 12 games or throughout the 12 weeks? Yeah, they did. So just be patient. Just be patient. Okay?
Piss off, Ralph.
Yeah, piss off, Ralph.
All right,
hey,
boys.
You couldn't be in my position, bud. Okay? You couldn't.
Maybe we'll get a lock off next week, Have him pick a lock, have you pick a lock, see who hits, keep going from there.
Hey, lock of the week parlay is only 3 legs this week. We got to hit it.
Yeah. All right, boys.
It's going to happen.
Rock chalk. See you boys next week.
Deuces.
Mob out.